that a razor? I like her hair in this.
Never have to worry about signal again.
Universal roaming, okay.
Whoa! Now that is hot.
Automated distress
It's like a sauna in here. Doctor! Look!
Is that the sun?
42 minutes until we crash into the sun.
All that orange glow. Look at this design. Okay. I'm in.
Oh, it's wrecked. Pretty efficiently too. Someone knew what they were doing.
Oh,
Where's Colwyn?
there's a third party in here.
Him or Ashton?
Oi. Be careful.
You too.
McDonald, it's Ashton.
Great set design. This sells it.
impact in 34.
Sedative.
Kind of feels like a Satan's pit.
Any questions?
Yeah. Who are you?
Who are you?
I'm the doctor.
Heat shield.
That music sounded familiar.
5.
Classical music. Who had the most pre-download number ones? Elvis Presley or the Beatles? How are you supposed to know that?
Look something up on the internet.
Do it yourself. You've got a computer.
Oh, just do it, will you?
Ooh.
It's impossible.
Oh no. It's kind of like Prometheus. Burn.
Colwyn, you're sick.
Is it? I think it is. Open your eyes. Oh.
Get back here with that equipment.
Behind that door.
Boss. Go there. Come back. Kill me now.
That helmet though.
The parasite's too aggressive. Your husband's gone.
Is that?
There's no way back. Sorry.
Kind of reminds me of Catelyn Stark. But it's not, is it?
Because it's vital that you tell me.
I know every inch of this ship.
You might know, but not.
Every detail of my crew's lives. There is nothing.
It's gotta be something.
Then why is this thing so interested in you?
What is happening on this ship?
Never mind that. Where are we?
Airlock sealed.
Escape pod?
Jettison escape pod.
You're still in there. I'm your wife.
Barely.
It's your fault.
Oh. So she accidentally did something?
Why this ship? Tell me.
Jeez.
Jettison activated.
He's crossed the circuit. I can't stop it. I can't stop it.
Let's see you.
Oh.
I want to know what you really are.
But if he's frozen, does that affect him? Yeah.
Jettisoning pod.
Martha, it's too late.
Oh.
You don't know the doctor. I believe in him.
Then you're lucky. I've never found anyone worth believing in.
Hmm.
The job doesn't lend itself to stable relationships.
Yeah.
Family then.
My dad's dead. I haven't seen my mum in 6 years.
He's probably thinking of her family
To hold on to me, I know that.
and her future.
Stubborn.
Yeah, well, that's families.
Yeah. I think that scene's gonna play a big part later on. Once it comes to her, you know, perhaps leaving the doctor.
You're wasting your breath, Scanlon. You're not going to stop me.
You want to open an airlock in flight on a ship spinning into the sun? No one can survive that.
Oh, just you watch.
You open an airlock, it's suicide.
I really love you. Tell Dad, Leo, and Tish that I love them too.
doctor with you?
Ah.
Is he there now?
Mum, just leave it.
It's a simple enough question.
Ah. Her mom had no idea of, no chance of knowing that, you know, this might be the last call. Go on, doctor. Holy shit. The one and only. Uh-oh. What's that look? What's that music? Oh.
It's alive. It's alive.
Whoa.
It's alive.
Oh.
Away from me. You mind that, son? Stupid surface for cheap fuel. You should have scanned for life.
Talking about.
Humans! You grab whatever's nearest and bleed it dry! You should have scanned! It'll use me to kill you if you don't! The closer we get to the sun, the stronger the link! Men
Wow.
center! Quickly! Quickly! Help me! I could kill you all. I'm scared. I'm so scared.
Oh, wow.
Just stay calm. You saved me, now I return the favor. Just believe in me.
There's this process, this thing that happens if I'm about to die.
Shh, quiet now. Because that is not going to happen.
Regeneration.
Ready?
This is a first, man.
Heat shields failing at 5.
Give back what they took!
Doctor,
Please go!
I'll be back for you.
Impact in 408.
Just give it back.
Burn with me. Burn with me, Martha.
Impact in 121.
Some particles in the fuel, get rid of them. Do it! Now!
Yes, ma'am.
Fuel dump in progress. Fuel dump in progress.
Whoa.
We got just enough reserves.
Hug it out. Hug it out. Doctor.
This is never your ship.
Compact, eh? And another good word, robust.
Yeah.
Fairly a scorched mark on her. You're off then. No chance I'll see you again?
Not really. It was nice. Not dying with you.
Is he gonna plant one?
Can you find someone worth believing in?
I think I already did.
Yeah. Well, she planted it. Parting gift.
Very hot. Didn't really need you in the end, did we? Sorry. How are you doing?
Now, what do you say? Ice skating on the mineral lakes of Korhan. Fancy it?
By the way, you'll be
Good.
needing this.
Ooh, the key.
Really?
Frequent flyers privilege.
Two-handed.
Thank you.
Don't mention it.
They've got Saxon
Hello?
and his people.
It's me again.
3 calls in one day.
Just remind me, what day is it again?
Election day.
Right, of course. I'll be round for tea.
Election day, huh?
That's all?
For now. Have you voted?
Of course. Just don't expect me to tell you who for.
Thanks for all you're doing, Mrs. Jones. Mr. Saxon will be very grateful.
Okay. Right then, yeah, Saxon, Harold Saxon. Now, it appears he's tapped up Martha's mom, Mrs. Jones. So he really, really wants to get to the doctor, right? He's really, trying to track him down. And Mrs. Jones seems to be on board. Of course, as a mother, she's concerned. So she didn't really need too much convincing, I'm sure. And that was depicted in the last episode. The moment this fellow came up to her, who again I'm not sure at this point if it's just an intermediary or Saxon himself, started telling her about the doctor and how dangerous he can be. Yeah, so he's got people in place, trying to tap her up, trying to, essentially they're trying to get the doctor to come back. That's what it felt like, because Mrs. Jones kept trying to ask Martha, I believe Martha cut her off in that conversation, but it felt like she's about to ask, is your friend or is the doctor going to come along? This is after Martha said, oh, I'll be home for tea, or the conversation right at the end there. It's clear they're trying to get the doctor to come back, right? So this Saxon certainly has some plans for the doctor. See, I'm still trying to figure out if this is, again, like I said in the last episode, I do feel like this is someone from his past, someone he's encountered before, perhaps, someone he's defeated before, perhaps. And I'm getting a bit of a feeling of maybe this once defeated foe from the past has kind of risen to the top even, and is looking to face the doctor again, or to face this Time Lord again, perhaps. So in that sense, it feels like this person might not even be human, though he's certainly in a human shape, of course. I mean, it could maybe be a human, but a really special kind of human, not just some, I don't know. I'm getting a distinct feeling that this is not someone human, but is someone who is able to pass as a human, perhaps. Because he certainly, if it's not human, he or it has certainly infiltrated the ranks, right, or the establishment, and climbed the ladder and kind of gotten himself into quite a distinguished position, right, running for office. And as stated by Mrs. Jones, it's election day, so things are escalating episode by episode now. 2 episodes in a row. The Saxon storyline in the background is kind of starting to, come to the forefront slowly, episode by episode. And, now you could tell that they're trying to get the doctor to come back to this timeline, or to that current timeline at least. So excited to see who this ends up being, in terms of the connection they have with the doctor or the Time Lords. Could be either one, Again, I said in the last episode, I'm not sure if it's this specific doctor that he knows about, right? Could just be Time Lord in general, right? So yeah, this is starting to feel like the major setup for perhaps the end game of this series. Much like the last 2 series, they had, a specific thing that kept kind of popping up throughout the series, right? Until the final few episodes, then it really came to the forefront of the story. So this has the same feeling, the Saxon storyline. I feel like the final 3 to final 2 episodes are probably going to be mainly about this storyline. It's certainly building up to it, and it's doing a good job. I think so far they've done a good job of slowly building up to this storyline. So a few really interesting moments in that TARDIS right before Martha kind of makes that call. First of all, he gave Martha the keys to the TARDIS, or a set of keys to the TARDIS. Now, that's clearly a big moment in the Doctor-companion relationship, right? A major moment, and she was quite happy, and I feel like she's finally getting the treatment that she kind of deserves, to be honest. As you know, her as the companion at this point in time, this is I think this is the kind of appreciation or treatment she was hoping to get after the first few trips she's had, right? And you can see the doctor is starting to realize, or he has realized at this point, yeah, come on, she's more than capable. I enjoy her company. She makes a great team, or her and I make for a great team, as depicted once again in this episode. So doctors come around, and I think it's fair to say he's kind of moved on from that funk, or he's able to move on from that funk of losing Rose, right? That almost phase of melancholy he was in, starting right back at the runaway bride, right? So he's past that point. And, a hint of that crept in once again as Martha asked him, are you okay? And he kind of brushed it off again. And then, she's like, not this again. But then he realized, he caught himself. And then, he presented the key to the TARDIS. But, staying on the doctor, how about that look on his face as Martha came in all jolly and happy, right? And then she saw the doctor's face and demeanor, and she kind of had to tone it down and dial it back, because that's a rare look, or just a rare moment to catch the doctor like that. He looked quite out of it. He looked quite rattled, right? One of the only times I've seen him look like that is, I've seen a similar look on his face, but only a handful of moments, right? After he lost Rose, in the TARDIS, and of course the bride showed up, so it kind of moved on really quick. But I also saw the similar look after the girl in the fireplace, right? Quite a somber ending, that one. Again, still the best episode of Doctor Who for me so far. You can see that he's kind of deep in thought and really again, kind of disconnected and rattled by the situation, right? Or by the experience, because you rarely get to see him like that, right? So mentally dominated. Actually, that might have been the first time I've seen him so mentally dominated. Something taking control of the Doctor, of a Time Lord. And, Tennant really sold that, that fear of not being in control, over his body, and not knowing if he's going to be able to, come out of this, right? This mental control, possession almost. And he was afraid of what he might turn into, right? Or what he might do under this thing's, this sentient son's control, right? So you can see that affected him quite a bit. Now, now jumping to Martha. Martha is the opposite of Rose. The thing, such different companions. Both are quite effective, clearly, but so different, like opposite ends of the scale. Martha, now it's becoming clear that Martha, this is not the life for Martha in the long term, because they've established that she just has too much back home, and that she's not able to detach herself from that life, right? Her family means quite a bit to her. Going back to Gridlock, they showed that, she cares a lot for her family, and she doesn't want to just leave them. She doesn't want to be off in some other galaxy and die, and they never know how she passed on, or what happened to her. And then once again in this episode, her and Riley in that escape pod, a similar scene kind of takes place of her kind of thinking back to her family and thinking about getting in these kind of dangerous situations and potentially just, disappearing from the face of the planet, and her parents are never even going to know how it happened, or, what happened. So she's got quite a bit of attachment to her family. Again, opposite of Rose, right? Rose actually even made the choice to leave her mom for the Doctor, right? In the finale, series 2 finale. She felt that, Rose felt that she had a long enough relationship or enough time with her mom that now she can kind of move on for the rest of her life and spend it with the Doctor, right? So that's insane, actually, thinking back to it, that she made that choice. But you can see Martha cannot make that choice. It's not even a possibility that she would think of something like that. So I'm starting to get the feeling that perhaps her separation from the Doctor might not be as emotional or as difficult as Rose, right? Now, of course, Martha loves this and she's so attached to the Doctor, but I think this is the type of person who, I think, as much as she likes doing this, as much as she likes being in the TARDIS and being the Doctor's traveling companion, I think at one point she's going to realize, okay, I think that's enough. I've had enough of this, and it was a grand old time, but I think it's time to get back to my own life, and they've established that she has quite a few things going for her, right? Again, opposite of Rose. Rose didn't really have much going on for her, right? So in that sense, she liked that escape. She liked being on the road, the road in the TARDIS. And even if you look at their mums, right, the mother figures in the story so far, for these two companions, opposite ends of the scale. You've got Mrs. Jones and then you've got Jackie. nothing in common. So other than the fact that they love their daughters, of course, right? And they have different approaches to it, You can see that Martha and her mom's communication isn't quite the same as Jackie and Rose, right? Their relationship in that sense is a bit more stronger, right? The relationship, the communication aspect of it. But at this moment in time, it's clear to see that the separation isn't going to affect Martha as much as it affected Rose, right? That turned into a whole different type of relationship and connection, right? So in that sense, I'm not dreading the separation as much. Martha and the Doctor, that is. So the rest of the episode, it actually felt quite similar to The Impossible Planet and Satan Pit. Of course, those two are, right up there in my top 5 of the series so far. Those really are so goddamn good. I really do love those episodes. I really need to check those out again at some point. I felt like there was a strong resemblance in this episode as well, right? Now, it wasn't as strong as either one of those episodes, that's for sure. But I felt like the one thing that they maybe did better is the pacing, right? And of course, the pacing is kind of tied to one of the main themes of the episode, right? The ticking time bomb plot of just 42 minutes, on the clock to kind of save the situation. So I like that. I like the pacing. They really sold the ticking time bomb plot device, right? The clock. And in this sense, it's an actual clock ticking time bomb. So yeah, the pacing was quite bombastic, quite breathless, right? And again, that sold the whole concept, and build, it really helped in building that tension. A lot of other similar things going on. Some of the music was the same, I think. Here and there, I kind of noticed some of the same music kicking in. Of course, a callback to that orange suit, right? The space suit. The Doctor got into it. Then, of course, you have the crew of this spaceship or this ship. Not quite as memorable as the crew in the Impossible Planet or the Satan Pit. I can't say any of those members really felt interesting to me, to be honest, except Riley, the one that was stuck in the escape pod with Martha. And I think I think that scene was quite important in, calling or, once again showcasing that Martha is not ready to kind of, separate from her family, and she does think about her family quite a bit. And, here's also an example of someone who wasn't able to make connections with his family or just doesn't have any connections. And look at him, he's out here drifting on a ship. It's kind of similar to something Jackie said to Rose, right? You might lose your identity and you're just going to be out there in some galaxy, right? Drifting. So I like that. He was quite a decent fellow. I liked him. I liked that character. Likable character. And it was I think it was a great little scene in that escape pod. And of course, the Doctor and the companion get split up, much like that two-parter, Satan Pit and the Impossible Planet. Rose and Doctor doing their own thing at one point, just like Martha and the Doctor are doing their own thing at some point in this episode. And of course, there's some kind of malign or incomprehensible exterior threat, right? Though, to be fair, you know, the threat isn't quite the same as the Satan or, you know, that the devil being they had in that two part. This one was, I think, the sentient son had its reasons. You know, it was in the right to be upset, and the Doctor had some choice things to say about humans, right? After finding out that the captain decided to strip some of that resource or that power source, right? You know, it's human nature to just strip any sort of resource right down to the bare bones. You know, take as much as you can. So yeah, again, the Doctor doesn't like that. And that's been established over the span of these 3 series now, right? That there's a lot of things that the Doctor likes about humans, and there's a lot of things he does not like about humans and human nature. You know, 2 really standout scenes from this episode are the first one, you know, the Doctor and Martha kind of being separated, right? The escape pod taking off, and all of a sudden, all sound just kind of just, you know, goes out, and it's absolute silence, right? That was so effective. Especially because, you know, the whole episode's such a bombastic, or there's such a bombastic and breathless pace. The moment that happened, it just rarely, I really felt that, you know, quite effective. Probably one of the better scenes of the entire series or the show I've seen up until this point. And the other one was the Doctor actually almost having an out-of-body experience as he looks at the sun, the sentient sun, right? I love that shot of, you know, just his eyes and his face. That's the part that made it seem like it's almost like an out-of-body experience. As he realizes it's a living organism. So those 2 scenes really stuck out to me. And again, I've got to say some of the set design, I thought it was quite impressive. You know, it really sold it. It really sold that you're on this ship. And once again, I really like that cozy setting of the escape pod. As you know by now, I really do love you know, futuristic, cozy compartments. Much like Gridlock. Right then, I think that's about it for this episode. It was a decent episode. Not quite the best of the series. I'd say Smith and Jones and Gridlock are the 2 best so far. Though the Lazarus Experiment had a lot of really interesting moments, really some of the standout moments of the series, right? That's the thing. A lot of these other episodes had moments that really stuck out, but like much like Gridlock. Of course, Gridlock also had some silly moments, but you know, that was quite important. You know, Gridlock might have been some of the most important scenes in all of the series so far. Right, so that's about it for this episode. If you enjoyed it, consider dropping a like, consider dropping some comments, give me your thoughts, consider subscribing to the channel. There's a schedule in place now, and you know, I'm going right till the end. I'm gonna there's no plans to ever stop this. Like I said before, Doctor Who has always been one of the shows I've always wanted to check out, so it's gonna go right till I catch up. So yeah, you know, subscribe to the channel if you do like the content. If you are interested in early access to the next episode right now, or perhaps full length for this episode, consider checking out the Patreon page and check out the different listings there. And in doing so, you'll be supporting the channel. And consider checking out the pinned comment, because the pinned comment does have links to the social media and to the Patreon page itself. And if there's any updates, it's usually the pinned comment right at the top of the comment section. Right then, that's about it for this one. I hope to see you soon. Take it easy.